thought I had seen every strange car ever built. Then I found these. Some look homemade, others look like science fiction experiments, but every single one was real and almost completely forgotten.
Number 1. 1949 Martin Stationet. When I first discovered the 1949 Martin Stationet, I honestly thought I was looking at a homemade project built from leftover parts, because nothing about this vehicle seemed to match. The front looked like it belonged on one car. The rear looked like it came from another. The roofline seemed borrowed from a station wagon, and somehow all of those completely different pieces were combined into a single automobile. At first glance, it almost looks like someone parked 3 different cars in a garage, cut them apart, and welded them together. But the unbelievable truth is that the Martin Stationet was a real production automobile. It wasn't built by an amateur, it wasn't a movie prop, it wasn't a custom show car. It was an ambitious attempt to create a completely new kind of family vehicle. And today, almost nobody remembers it ever existed. The years immediately after World War II were filled with optimism. America was changing rapidly. Families were growing. People wanted larger, more practical automobiles for everyday life. Manufacturers rushed to introduce new models that could carry more passengers, more luggage, and provide greater comfort than ever before. Every company believed it had the answer to the future of family transportation. Some created larger sedans. Others introduced station wagons. A few independent builders decided to try something completely different. One of those forgotten experiments became the Martin Stationet. The idea behind the Stationet was actually quite clever. Instead of designing another ordinary sedan, its creators wanted a vehicle that combined the comfort of a passenger car with the usefulness of a wagon. They envisioned a practical automobile that families could use for vacations, shopping, and everyday transportation while offering far more cargo space than traditional cars. Today, that idea sounds completely normal. Modern crossovers and SUVs are built around the same philosophy. But in 1949, it was a bold and unusual concept. Unfortunately, the styling didn't convince everyone. The front end had one personality, the middle section looked completely different, the rear appeared to belong to another vehicle altogether. Instead of flowing together into one elegant design, the Stationet often looked like several unrelated ideas competing for attention. Many people who saw it for the first time couldn't even identify what kind of vehicle it was supposed to be. Was it a sedan? A wagon? A delivery vehicle? Something in between? Its unusual proportions confused almost everyone. Part of the reason for its strange appearance was the way it was built. Like many small independent manufacturers of the era, Martin didn't have the enormous budgets of companies like Ford, Chevrolet, or Chrysler. Developing completely new bodies and mechanical components from scratch was incredibly expensive. So smaller companies often relied on existing automotive parts, modifying them to create something unique. The result was practical from a manufacturing standpoint, but visually, it sometimes created automobiles that looked unlike anything else on the road. The Martin Stationet became one of the best examples of that approach. Inside, however, the Stationet was designed with practicality in mind. The cabin offered generous space for passengers, large windows created excellent visibility. The rear compartment provided much more room for luggage and cargo than a traditional sedan. It was a vehicle built for families who wanted versatility without moving into a full commercial truck. Long before the word crossover existed, the Martin Stationet was already trying to combine multiple types of vehicles into one. Despite the creative idea, the company faced enormous challenges. Competing against America's largest automobile makers was almost impossible. Ford, General Motors, Chrysler, these companies could produce hundreds of thousands of cars every year. A small independent manufacturer simply couldn't match their prices, dealer networks, or advertising budgets. Even if the Martin Stationet offered something different, convincing buyers to take a chance on an unfamiliar company was extremely difficult. Production remained incredibly limited. Only a small number of Martin Stationets were ever completed. The company never achieved the success its founders had hoped for. Before long, the project quietly disappeared. Without large production numbers, very few examples survived. Many were driven until they wore out. Others were scrapped as newer cars replaced them. For decades, the Martin Stationet faded into obscurity. Today, spotting one is an extraordinary event. Many lifelong car enthusiasts have never seen one in person. Some have never even heard its name. When one appears at a classic car show, people stop and ask the same question. What is that? Because it doesn't resemble the famous American cars everyone recognizes. It looks like a forgotten experiment from an alternate timeline of automotive history. Looking back, the 1949 Martin Stationet wasn't remembered because it was beautiful. It wasn't remembered because it sold in huge numbers. It became fascinating because it dared to be different. It tried to combine practicality, passenger comfort, and utility, years before those ideas became mainstream. Its unusual styling may have confused buyers, but its ambition was undeniable. Sometimes the strangest vehicles are also the most interesting. The Martin Stationet wasn't just another forgotten car. It was an early attempt to reinvent the family automobile. A machine built from bold ideas, limited resources, and plenty of imagination. And that's exactly why more than 75 years later, it remains one of the most unusual, forgotten vehicles in automotive history.
Number 2. 1957 Gaylord Gladiator. When I first discovered the 1957 Gaylord Gladiator, I honestly couldn't believe this car had almost disappeared from history. Because at first glance, it looked like it should have been parked right next to a Cadillac or Lincoln in the most luxurious dealership in America. The long, elegant body, the massive chrome grille, the hand-built craftsmanship, the powerful V8 engine. Everything about the Gaylord Gladiator screamed luxury. It looked like the kind of car owned by movie stars, wealthy businessmen, or politicians. Yet today, most car enthusiasts have never even heard its name. The Gaylord Gladiator wasn't just another forgotten automobile. It was one of the boldest attempts by a small American company to challenge the giants of the luxury car industry. And it failed so completely that surviving examples have become incredibly rare. During the 1950s, America's automobile industry was booming. People wanted bigger cars, more powerful engines, more chrome, more luxury. Cadillac dominated the premium market. Lincoln continued building elegant luxury automobiles. Imperial was fighting for wealthy buyers. To compete with these famous brands seemed almost impossible, but a small California company believed it could do exactly that. Instead of building an inexpensive economy car, the founders aimed for the very top of the market. Their dream was simple: build an American luxury car that could compete with the very best. That dream became the Gaylord Gladiator. Unlike mass-produced automobiles rolling off giant assembly lines, the Gaylord Gladiator was built with an emphasis on craftsmanship. Much of the work was done by hand. Every detail was intended to give buyers something exclusive. This wasn't a car you would see on every street corner. It was designed for people who wanted something different, something that stood apart from the crowd. Its creators believed wealthy customers would appreciate individuality just as much as luxury. The styling reflected that ambition. The Gladiator featured a long hood, flowing body lines, and elegant proportions that made it look every bit as expensive as the famous luxury cars of its era. Large chrome details highlighted the exterior without overwhelming the design. The grille was bold and confident. The sweeping rear fenders gave the car a sense of movement even while parked. It looked refined rather than flashy, powerful rather than aggressive. Everything about its appearance suggested prestige. Inside, the Gaylord Gladiator was designed to impress. Passengers were surrounded by high-quality materials, comfortable seating, and elegant craftsmanship. The company wanted every journey to feel special. Luxury wasn't simply about soft seats. It was about attention to detail. The interior reflected the idea that an automobile could be both transportation and a personal statement. Every surface was intended to remind owners that they were driving something few other people possessed. Performance was equally important. The Gladiator wasn't just meant to look expensive. It needed the power to compete with America's finest luxury machines. A powerful V8 engine provided smooth acceleration and confident highway performance. The car was designed to cruise effortlessly across long American highways while delivering the comfort expected from a premium automobile. It offered the kind of driving experience wealthy buyers demanded during the golden age of American luxury cars. Unfortunately, building an outstanding luxury car was only part of the challenge. Selling it proved much harder. The Gaylord name carried none of the prestige enjoyed by Cadillac, Lincoln, or Chrysler. Buyers spending large amounts of money often preferred brands they already trusted. A luxury automobile wasn't simply about specifications, it was about reputation, prestige, confidence, and those qualities take years, sometimes decades to build. The Gaylord company simply didn't have that advantage. Another major obstacle was cost. Because production was so limited and much of the work was done by hand, each Gladiator was expensive to build. Competing against giant manufacturers with massive factories was nearly impossible. Large companies could spread development costs across tens of thousands of cars. Gaylord could not. The result was a beautiful automobile that struggled to find customers. Only a handful of Gaylord Gladiators were ever completed. Production remained incredibly small. The company soon encountered financial difficulties, and its dream of becoming America's next great luxury automaker quietly came to an end. Without large production numbers, very few cars survived. Some disappeared into private collections, others were eventually scrapped. Today, surviving examples are among the rarest forgotten American luxury cars ever built. When collectors encounter a Gaylord Gladiator today, many are amazed that such a car ever existed. It has the presence of a Cadillac, the elegance of a Lincoln, the exclusivity of a hand-built European Grand Tour. Yet nobody remembers its story. That mystery is part of its appeal. It's one of those rare automobiles that makes people stop and ask, "How have I never heard of this?" Looking back, the 1957 Gaylord Gladiator wasn't a failure because it lacked quality. It wasn't a failure because it lacked style. It failed because challenging the biggest names in the American automobile industry required enormous resources, an established reputation, and a dealer network that a small company simply couldn't match. But sometimes, the rarest cars tell the most fascinating stories. The Gaylord Gladiator wasn't just another forgotten luxury car. It was a bold dream, built on craftsmanship, ambition, and confidence. A handcrafted American masterpiece that dared to challenge Cadillac and Lincoln and became one of the rarest forgotten automobiles ever created.
Number 3. 1948 Norman Timbs Special. When I first discovered the 1948 Norman Timbs Special, I honestly thought someone had used artificial intelligence to create the perfect futuristic classic car. Because nothing about it looks like it belongs in the 1940s. The impossibly long, flowing body, the smooth, uninterrupted curves, the completely enclosed rear wheels, the ultra-low profile. From almost every angle, it looks more like digital artwork than a real automobile. Even today, people who see photos of the Norman Timbs Special often assume it's a modern custom build or a computer-generated concept. But the unbelievable truth is this: it was completely real, and it was hand-built more than 75 years ago. The Norman Timbs Special wasn't just ahead of its time, it looked like it came from an entirely different century. The late 1940s marked a new era in automotive design. World War II had ended, and engineers were bringing new ideas from aviation into the automotive world. Most manufacturers still built cars with large chrome grilles, separate fenders, and conservative styling. But a few visionaries believed the future would look completely different. One of those visionaries was Norman Timbs. Unlike traditional automakers, Timbs wasn't interested in following trends. He wanted to build one extraordinary automobile that represented pure automotive art. Not something designed by accountants, not something built to satisfy millions of customers. A machine created simply because it could be beautiful. The first thing everyone notices is the shape. There are almost no sharp edges anywhere on the car. The body flows from the pointed front all the way to the dramatic rear without interruption. Every curve seems connected to the next. Instead of looking like separate body panels assembled together, the Timbs Special appears to have been sculpted from a single block of metal. Even modern designers admire how clean and elegant the proportions are. Very few automobiles, old or new, look this smooth. The rear of the car is perhaps its most unforgettable feature. The wheels are completely hidden beneath flowing bodywork. Without exposed wheel openings, the back of the car almost resembles the tail of an airplane or a high-speed train. It creates an illusion that the vehicle is floating above the road. This wasn't just unusual for the 1940s, it still feels futuristic today. Many concept cars decades later would borrow similar ideas, yet the Norman Timbs Special had already explored them years before. The long hood gave the car incredible presence. The low roofline made it appear impossibly sleek. From the side, it almost looked like it was moving even while standing still. That was exactly what Timbs wanted. He believed an automobile should express motion through its shape. Even parked, it should appear fast. That philosophy became one of the defining characteristics of the car. The engineering underneath was as impressive. Norman Timbs had extensive experience designing race cars, and he applied much of that knowledge to this project. The Special was built on a lightweight chassis and used a rear-mounted Buick Straight-8, an unusual choice that helped create the long, uninterrupted hood and balanced proportions. The combination of racing knowledge and artistic vision resulted in something completely unique. This wasn't simply a showpiece, it was a real running automobile. Inside, the minimalist philosophy continued. The cockpit was clean and purposeful. Instead of excessive decoration, the focus remained on the driving experience. Everything was designed to complement the elegant exterior rather than distract from it. The driver sat low inside the car, surrounded by sweeping bodywork that made every journey feel special. It wasn't just transportation, it felt like driving a sculpture. Unlike major manufacturers that produced thousands of vehicles, the Norman Timbs Special was a one-off creation. Only one example was ever built. There was never a production line, never a dealership, never a brochure offering different colors or options. This car existed simply because one talented designer wanted to prove what was possible when creativity came before commercial success. That alone makes it one of the rarest automobiles ever created. For many years, the Timbs Special disappeared from public view. It was damaged, neglected, and eventually left sitting for decades. Many people believed it had been lost forever. Fortunately, automotive historians recognized its importance. After years of careful restoration, the car was brought back to life, allowing a new generation to experience one of the most beautiful custom automobiles ever built. Today, it once again appears at prestigious concours events and museums, astounding everyone who sees it. What makes the Norman Timbs Special so remarkable isn't just its rarity, it's how timeless it feels. Most cars instantly reveal the decade they came from. This one doesn't. Show someone a photograph without telling them the year, and many would guess it was designed in the 1990s or even the future. That is the mark of truly great design. It doesn't grow old. Looking back, the 1948 Norman Timbs Special wasn't built to become a commercial success. It wasn't created to compete with Cadillac, Ford, or Chevrolet. It was built to answer a much bigger question. what happens when engineering and art become the same thing? The answer was one of the most breathtaking automobiles ever created. A hand-built masterpiece with flowing curves, hidden rear wheels, and proportions so futuristic that even today people struggled to believe it was created in the 1940s. The Norman Timbs Special wasn't just a car, it was rolling sculpture, a dream shaped from metal, and one of the most beautiful, forgotten masterpieces in automotive history.
Number 4. 1960 DiDia 150. When I first discovered the 1960 DiDia 150, I honestly thought it had been built for a science fiction movie because nothing about this car looked even remotely normal. The enormous tail fins, the futuristic bubble-like cockpit, the dramatic chrome details, the incredibly low body. From every angle, it looked less like an automobile and more like a spaceship that somehow received a license plate. If someone told me it was a Hollywood movie prop, I would have believed them immediately. But the unbelievable truth is this: the DiDia 150 was completely real. It wasn't built for a film, it wasn't a fantasy concept, it was a fully functioning hand-built automobile created for one of Hollywood's biggest stars. And even today, it remains one of the most outrageous custom cars ever built. The late 1950s and early 1960s were the peak of America's fascination with the future. The space race had begun. Jet aircraft were becoming symbols of progress. Everything from home appliances to buildings adopted futuristic styling. Automobiles followed the same trend. Manufacturers competed to create bigger tail fins, more chrome, and more dramatic designs every year. But while companies like Cadillac and Chrysler were pushing styling to its limits, one man decided those cars still weren't futuristic enough. That man was Andrew DiDia, an eccentric clothing designer with an incredible imagination. He didn't simply want to customize a car, he wanted to build the automobile of tomorrow. No compromises, no limits, no concern for production costs, only imagination. The project took years to complete. Nearly every part of the car was built by hand. Instead of modifying an existing production vehicle, Andy DiDia created something almost entirely unique. Every panel, every trim piece, every detail was carefully shaped to match his futuristic vision. The result looked unlike anything else driving on American roads. Even among the wild show cars of the era, the DiDia 150 stood alone. The front of the car immediately captured attention. The long, pointed nose stretched dramatically forward. Chrome accents flowed into the body rather than simply decorating it. The headlights were deeply integrated into the futuristic design. Nothing looked ordinary. Every curve suggested motion even when the car was standing still. The body seemed almost liquid, flowing from front to rear without interruption. Then were the tail fins. By 1960, large fins had become common on American luxury cars, but the DiDia 150 pushed the idea to another level. Its dramatic rear styling looked more like the tail of a rocket than an automobile. The rear lights were integrated into sweeping sculptural fins that gave the entire car an unmistakable silhouette. Even today, very few custom cars look this bold. The cockpit was equally astonishing. Stepping inside felt more like entering a futuristic aircraft than sitting in a luxury automobile. The dashboard wrapped around the driver. The controls were arranged in a unique futuristic layout. The seating position emphasized comfort while maintaining the feeling of piloting an advanced machine. Everything inside reinforced the illusion that this wasn't a car from 1960, it was a visitor from decades ahead. One of the most fascinating parts of the DiDia 150 story is its connection to Hollywood. The completed car was eventually purchased by legendary singer and actor Bobby Darin. Darin was already known for his bold personality and enormous success in music and film. Owning a car like the DiDia 150 fit perfectly with his image. Wherever he drove, crowds gathered. People stopped.
They stared. Many couldn't believe such a vehicle actually existed. For Bobby Darin, it wasn't simply transportation, it was rolling artwork. Building the DiDia 150 required an extraordinary amount of time, craftsmanship, and money. Because nearly every component was custom-made, the project became one of the most expensive custom automobiles of its era. This wasn't something that could ever be mass-produced. It existed as a one-of-a-kind masterpiece, a personal vision brought to life without worrying about practicality. Only one DiDia 150 was ever built. There were no production versions, no second generation, no copies from the factory. That makes it one of the rarest American custom automobiles ever created. Unlike many famous concept cars that were eventually destroyed, the DiDia 150 survived. Today, it remains one of the most recognizable examples of futuristic American custom car design. Looking at it now, it's easy to understand why so many people mistake it for a movie prop. Its proportions seem impossible. Its styling still feels futuristic. Its details are so unusual that it almost doesn't look real. Yet every inch of the DiDia 150 was handcrafted by people who believed automobiles could become works of art. Looking back, the 1960 DiDia 150 wasn't built to compete with Cadillac. It wasn't created to challenge Lincoln. It wasn't designed for ordinary drivers. It was built to prove that imagination has no limits. With its futuristic cockpit, its towering tail fins, its handcrafted body, and its unforgettable Hollywood history, the DiDia 150 became far more than just another custom car. It became a rolling sculpture, a dream built from steel and chrome, a one-of-a-kind masterpiece that still looks like it belongs tomorrow rather than yesterday. And that's exactly why, more than 60 years later, people still ask the same question: how could something this futuristic have been built in 1960?
Number 5. 1951 GM LeSabre XP-8. When I first discovered the 1951 GM LeSabre XP-8, I honestly couldn't believe this car was created in the early 1950s, because it looked like something from another era. The aircraft-inspired body, the massive wraparound windshield, the hidden headlights, the futuristic tail design, the incredibly low profile. Everything about the LeSabre looked like it belonged in a world where flying cars were already normal. Most cars of the early 1950s still looked traditional, large chrome. Why should cars remain ordinary? General Motors decided to explore that question with one of the most famous cars. It was created as a vision of what the automobile of the future could become. The man behind this incredible machine was legendary GM designer Healey Elliot. Earl was one of the most influential automotive designers in history. He helped introduce many styling trends that shaped American cars for decades. With the LeSabre, he wanted to capture the excitement of the jet age. He didn't want to simply design a better car. He wanted to create an experience, a vehicle that made people feel like they were driving the future. The first thing that shocked people was the shape. The LeSabre had a very low aerodynamic body. The front end was smooth and rounded. The windshield wrapped around the cabin like the cockpit of a fighter aircraft. The rear featured dramatic tail-inspired styling that clearly showed aviation influence. Unlike traditional cars with separate parts and obvious mechanical elements, the LeSabre looked like it was one flowing piece of technology. It appeared to be moving even while standing still. One of the most impressive features was the wraparound windshield. At the time, most cars used simple flat glass designs. The LeSabre introduced a futuristic curved windshield that surrounded the driver and passengers. This gave the cabin a much more open feeling and created the sensation of being inside an aircraft cockpit. Today, curved glass and panoramic visibility are common design elements, but in 1951, they looked almost unbelievable. The hidden headlights were another futuristic detail. Instead of leaving headlights exposed, the LeSabre concealed them inside the body when they were not needed. This created a cleaner, smoother front design. Decades later, hidden headlights became a popular styling feature on many performance cars, but the LeSabre was experimenting with the idea long before it became fashionable. The technology underneath was just as impressive as the design. The LeSabre was not simply a beautiful sculpture, it was a functioning automobile. It used a special aluminum body and lightweight construction methods inspired by aircraft engineering. It even featured experimental technology like a built-in weather sensor system that could detect rain and automatically raise the roof. Think about that. A car from 1951 that was already experimenting with automatic weather protection. The interior continued the aircraft theme. The cockpit-style cabin surrounded the driver with futuristic controls. The dashboard looked more like an airplane instrument panel than a traditional automobile. The seats and controls were arranged to create a feeling of being in command of an advanced machine. Driving the LeSabre wasn't supposed to feel ordinary. It was supposed to feel like operating the transportation of tomorrow. The public reacted to inspire future designs and demonstrate what was possible, and it succeeded. Over the dynamic ideas predicted future design trends. Its hidden technology showed concepts that would later become common. Many vehicles that followed borrowed pieces of the same futuristic philosophy. What makes the 1951 GM LeSabre XP-8 so fascinating is how modern it still looks. Many cars from the 1950s clearly show their age, but the LeSabre is different. Remove the year from the history books, and many people would believe it was designed decades later. That is the sign of a truly visionary design. Looking back, the 1951 GM LeSabre XP-8 wasn't just a concept car. It was a prediction, a glimpse into a future that hadn't arrived yet, a machine inspired by fighter jets, a car filled with technology decades ahead of its time, a vehicle that proved imagination could move faster than reality. The LeSabre XP-8 was not built in the 1950s. It was built to show what the future might look like. And more than 70 years later, it still feels like a car that came from tomorrow.
Number 6. 1956 Packard Predictor. When I first discovered the 1956 Packard Predictor, I honestly couldn't believe this car was built in the 1950s, because it looked like a machine from a future that never arrived. The incredibly low roof, the futuristic doors, the hidden details, the smooth aircraft-inspired body lines. Everything about the Predictor looked like it belonged decades later, not during the middle of the 1950s. If someone showed me a picture without telling me the year, I would probably guess it was a 1970s or even 1980s concept car. But the unbelievable truth is, the Packard Predictor was created in 1956. It was Packard's vision of tomorrow, a glimpse of what luxury automobiles could become. Unfortunately, the company behind this incredible machine was already fighting for survival, and many of these futuristic ideas never reached production. The 1950s were one of the most exciting periods in automotive history. America was obsessed with the future. The space race was beginning. Jet aircraft were transforming transportation. Designers looked at rockets and airplanes for inspiration. Every year, cars became more dramatic. Bigger tail fins, more chrome, more futuristic styling. Luxury manufacturers competed to prove they were the most advanced. Packard, once considered one of America's greatest luxury brands, knew it needed something special. It needed a vehicle that would show the world it was still capable of innovation. That vehicle became the Packard Predictor. The Predictor was created by legendary designer Richard Teague, one of the most talented automotive stylists of the era. His goal was not simply to build a beautiful show car. He wanted to preview the future direction of Packard vehicles. The Predictor was meant to show customers, this is what Packard could become, and the result was unlike anything else on the road. The first thing people noticed was the roof design. The Predictor featured an incredibly low and sleek roofline that made the entire vehicle look faster and more aerodynamic. At a time when many American cars were tall and heavily decorated, the Predictor looked clean and advanced. The roof flowed smoothly into the rear body. The windshield wrapped around the cabin. The proportions created the feeling of a high-speed aircraft rather than a traditional automobile. It created the feeling that the entire cabin was a cockpit. It was not just a way to get inside, it was an experience. The exterior was filled with clever details. The headlights were hidden behind sliding covers. The body used smooth surfaces with minimal decoration. The grille was integrated into the front design rather than dominating it. Every element was created to make the car appear cleaner and more modern. Many of these ideas would later become common in automotive design, but Packard was experimenting with them in the 1950s. Inside, the Predictor continued the futuristic theme. The dashboard looked more like an aircraft control panel than a traditional luxury car interior. The driver was surrounded by advanced-looking instruments. The seats, controls, and layout were designed to create a feeling of being inside a vehicle from tomorrow. The goal was not just comfort, it was to make the driver feel connected to the future. The Predictor also featured ideas that were extremely advanced for the time. Designers experimented with advanced control layouts, improved visibility, futuristic cabin design, innovative body construction ideas. Some features were purely experimental, but others hinted at trends that would later appear in production vehicles. The Predictor was a laboratory on wheels. When Packard displayed the Predictor, public reaction was extremely positive. People were fascinated by its futuristic appearance. It represented hope, a belief that Packard could return to its position as one of America's greatest luxury brands. But unfortunately, reality was much difficult. By the mid-1950s, Packard was facing serious problems. The company struggled against larger competitors like Cadillac, Lincoln, and Chrysler's Imperial division. It lacked the financial power and production volume of the major manufacturers. Even with exciting designs like the Predictor, competing in the luxury market became increasingly difficult. The future that Packard imagined never had enough time to arrive. Many of the Predictor's ideas influenced later Packard designs, but the company continued to decline. By the end of the decade, Packard's automobile production effectively disappeared. One of America's most respected luxury brands was gone, and with it disappeared the chance to see what vehicles inspired by the Predictor might have become. Today, the 1956 Packard Predictor remains one of the most fascinating forgotten concept cars ever created. It represents a turning point, a moment when a legendary company imagined an amazing future but couldn't survive long enough to reach it. The car itself survived, becoming a reminder of what Packard was capable of creating. Looking back, the 1956 Packard Predictor wasn't just a concept car. It was a final dream, a futuristic luxury automobile filled with ideas ahead of its time, a machine with a roof, doors, and styling that looked decades too advanced. Packard didn't disappear because it lacked imagination. It disappeared before it could prove what that imagination was worth. The Predictor was a car from tomorrow, built by a company that never got the chance to see tomorrow arrive.
Number 7. 1948 Healey Elliot. When I first discovered the 1948 Healey Elliot, I honestly couldn't believe this elegant-looking car was secretly a performance machine. Because from the outside, it looked like a refined luxury automobile. The smooth body lines, the beautiful handcrafted shape, the elegant four-door design. It looked like a car built for wealthy passengers who wanted comfort and style. But underneath that sophisticated appearance was something completely different. The Healey Elliot was one of the fastest four-seat cars in the world during its time. It could compete with much more famous sports cars, yet almost nobody remembers it today. A car that once represented British engineering excellence quietly disappeared into history. And now, seeing one in person has become an extremely rare experience. The late 1940s were a difficult but exciting period for automobile manufacturers. World War II had just ended, and companies were trying to rebuild. Many automakers focused on creating practical vehicles for a changing world. But some engineers wanted to prove that performance and elegance could still exist. One of those visionaries was Donald Healey, a talented British engineer and racing enthusiast. Healey believed that a car could combine luxury, speed, reliability, and beautiful design. His goal was not simply to build another automobile. He wanted to create a machine that could surprise people. The result was the Healey Elliot. At first glance, the Elliot seemed like a traditional luxury car. The body was graceful and carefully proportioned. The flowing fenders and rounded roofline gave it a sophisticated appearance. It had the kind of styling associated with expensive touring cars. Nothing about its appearance suggested that it was a serious performance machine. And that was exactly what made it so interesting. The Healey Elliot was a sleeper before the term became popular. It looked calm and elegant, but it had surprising ability underneath. The secret of the Elliot's performance was its advanced engineering. The car was designed with lightweight construction and excellent aerodynamics. At a time when many vehicles were tall and heavy, the Elliot focused on reducing air resistance. Its smooth body shape allowed it to move through the air more efficiently than many larger competitors. The design was so effective that it helped the car achieve impressive speeds. The most shocking achievement came in high-speed testing. The Healey Elliot was capable of reaching speeds that were remarkable for a four-seat car of the late 1940s. In fact, it became known as one of the fastest production four-seaters of its era. This was incredible because most fast cars of the time sacrificed practicality. They were small, they were uncomfortable, they were designed mainly for racing. The Elliot was different. It offered room for passengers while still delivering serious performance. Under the hood was a Riley-based engine, specially tuned for Healey's performance goals. The power wasn't just about numbers. The entire car was engineered as a balanced machine. The suspension, the lightweight body, the aerodynamic shape, everything worked together. It wasn't a car built only for straight line speed. It was designed to feel capable and enjoyable on real roads. Inside, the Elliot continued its luxury approach. The cabin featured quality materials and a classic British style. The driver sat in an environment that felt more like a grand touring car than a racing machine. Wood trim, comfortable seating, traditional craftsmanship. It created a unique combination, a luxury interior with sports car performance. Despite its impressive abilities, the Healey Elliot faced a difficult market. The company was small, production numbers were limited, and competing against larger manufacturers was extremely challenging. Many buyers were unfamiliar with the Healey name. A luxury performance car requires not only engineering excellence, but also reputation and customer confidence. Brands like Jaguar and Bentley already had established identities. Healey was still trying to build one. Production numbers remained very low. Only a limited number of Elliot models were produced before the company moved in different directions. Over time, many examples disappeared. Some were modified, some were lost. Others simply faded from public attention as newer sports cars became famous. Today, the Healey Elliot is one of those forgotten classics that surprises everyone who learns its story. Many enthusiasts know famous British cars from the era, but far fewer know about this elegant performance machine. When one appears at a classic car event, it often attracts attention because people cannot believe what it represents. It wasn't just a beautiful old car.
It was a hidden performance legend, and a reminder that sometimes the most incredible cars are the ones almost nobody remembers.